morning. Welcome to Village in Motion. Today is Tuesday, June 13th, 2017. A very warm Tuesday. And we have the very warm Kimberly Nelson from Philanthropy here with us today.
Good morning.
Good morning. Are you staying cool today?
Oh, I'm so nice and cool in the studio.
That's good. It is nice and cool in here today.
I would say definitely be cautious outside. It's supposed to hit record high heat again today.
I'm glad you said that, and we would like to remind all of our residents, if you go outside today or even inside, make very sure that you're drinking lots and lots of water. Okay. Not coffee, not tea, water, cold beverages. It's important. Stay hydrated.
I would agree, yes. And I'm sure all the medical center would agree as well.
Yes, if you've ever been dehydrated, and I have made that mistake, it is not fun. It's important to stay hydrated.
Yeah, so it is a hot one, so just be careful if you're out.
Yes.
But
what's happening in philanthropy?
Lots going on.
Okay.
At Greenspring, as always.
That's good.
I would just want to say first and foremost that today there is an election going on.
That's right, a primary election.
Yes, and I know in June we don't always think of Election Day, but I wanted to make sure all residents were aware that the Greenspring precinct is, of course, open.
And it is located where?
And it is at Hunter's Crossing down in the Conference Center. And they're doing, you know, one way down and another way up.
So if you're using the elevator?
Yep, so they'll get you down the normal way and you'll go up the back way. But
the back way is out the back of the Hunter. If you haven't been out that way, it's through the back of the Conference Center.
Yep.
And you go up and you'll come out through the kitchen.
Yep.
And there'll be someone there to guide you out.
That's my understanding. So just bring your photo ID. I know it sounds a little silly because everybody sort of knows everyone at Greenspring, but that's sort of the rules. So just bring your ID. There's lots of folks there to help you. Please vote. It is a primary, so it helps narrow down the candidates on both sides of the aisle. So.
And this is a primary election. It doesn't matter if you're registered as a Republican or a Democrat. Mm-hmm. You can vote either Republican or Democrat, not both.
Right.
So you can choose going in the door. You may be normally, you may vote as a Republican, but today you might want to vote in the Democratic primary.
Yep.
And you may do that.
Yes, you may. So whatever you choose, but I wanted to remind folks that's going on today.
And the polls are open until?
Oh, it was just on the screen. I think it was 7 o'clock.
Okay. So you have a while.
You have a while. Yep, 6 a.m. to 7. Thank goodness I was a good guess. So that's today. And then later this week on Friday, there's another really, really nice event that's brand new for Greenspring. And it's called the World War I, World War II Honor Tour. And this is basically, it's a traveling museum.
I saw some pictures about that. Tell me more about it.
Yes, so it's really, so this is out of Richmond, and basically picture a huge 18-wheeler truck.
Okay.
And picture they've redone the whole inside of the truck, and it is now a museum. And it's wheelchair accessible. They hook up stairs and ramps right outside once they get it set up. And you get to go in and really see things that maybe you wouldn't normally get to see because it's travels. And it just sounds really exciting, so I'm really excited to see it.
Now this is related to World War II.
World War I and World War II, as I understand it.
So there are exhibits to look at.
Yep, and someone said there's even a replica of a tank inside. Now, I'm sure it's not a huge full-size tank.
I was going to say that would take most of it.
I'm sure it is a modified version, but I thought, ooh, that sounds awful interesting. So I'm really excited to see it. So it is from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So you don't have to get there at 10. You know, you have plenty of time. It's in the parking lot at Hunter's Crossing. Obviously, we want to celebrate Flag Day, and of course Father's Day is also coming up, and what a great event to sort of blend the two together. So wear your red, white, and blue, and just come and see. And if you have memorabilia, my understanding is they're going to have a scanner for things that are flat. that can be scanned to put into their electronic system to be part of the museum.
I read that also, memorabilia, and were they also interested in oral histories, or did I make that up?
No, they are going to do something with talking with folks as well. And so Janelle in Community Resources has all the details. So if you want more info, talk to Janelle. Probably not today because of the election. Talk with her tomorrow and get more details because she's been orchestrating all of this.
So if you have memorabilia related to World War I or World War II,
that's relatively flat.
That is relatively flat and could be scanned in.
Yes.
So this could be
old letters, it could be maps, it could be, I don't know, passports with I mean, it could be military IDs, could be books. I mean, it's parts of journals. It could things like that.
I'm trying to think. Recently, I was looking at some papers that belonged to my father, and part of those were some programs that he had attended relative to a hospital that he was in during some time in World War II. A hospital in a post that no longer exists.
See, so they would probably
that might be very interesting.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
And that is something that could be scanned. It might be something that was a relative, I forget what the name of it is, but when you receive a medal.
Yes, some sort of a recognition.
The recognition that went along with that medal.
Yes, the proclamation or however they call it. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, so any of those things, I would say if you have something like that and you'd like to have it be scanned in, you know, don't show up right at 10 and think, oh, I'm going to be in and out, because we know always at the beginning, sometimes it's a little more crowded. So
we here at Greenspring are good at being first in line.
Yes, but they're here, you know, for 5 hours, so take advantage of that whole time. So it is on Friday, so I know some folks have mass and things they want to go to, so then come afterwards or after lunch. And I know other folks want to go in the morning because then they have treasure chest responsibilities in the afternoon. So I think if everyone just sort of shifts on what works, hopefully the line will not be long extensively at any time when you go.
So the date again is?
This Friday.
This Friday from 10 to 3 in the parking lot at Hunter's Crossing.
Rain or shine.
And it's going to be warm that day, not as warm as today, but you might want to take a hat.
Yep. And we will have a few little tents if there is a line and some chairs, just to help keep folks cool.
That's a good idea.
But and we'll have some lemonade or water, but there's no beverages allowed inside the museum.
Okay.
But we'll have some things outside if indeed there is a line.
Sounds like an interesting and educational day.
It should be. So hopefully folks, it really sounds very exciting.
Good.
And then of course we have the Village Fair right around the corner.
And what is the Village Fair? We have a lot of new people here at Greenspring that won't have been to the Village Fair before. So
the Village Fair is Thursday, June 29th, and that is a great event for a resident who's maybe a year or a year and a half they've been here, maybe they missed the last Village Fair. There will be about 100 different clubs and groups that have little tables, and you can walk around and sort of get to know what is available. I didn't know there's a dominoes group, or I didn't know there's a chess group, and I didn't know there was this history group or this movie group. And Greenspring has so much going on. It is hard to keep track sometimes. And when you see things in the calendar, you're not always sure what that is.
I hear a lot of new people say, well, I want to get settled in before I join anything.
Yeah.
And this is a good opportunity to go out there and kind of see what's there before you jump in and join something.
Yep. And you don't have to necessarily, as you said, join right away. You can pop in for something, but if you don't know about it, then you won't know to pop in.
That's right.
You know, and for example, I know the Wellness Center, when they have classes, they say your first class is always free. We want you to come try a class, see if it's the right class for you before you make a commitment to sort of join the class. And so that's the same thing with the Village Fair. It gives you an opportunity to say, that's something of interest. I hadn't thought about that.
So does this include both Greenspring resident-sponsored groups and Greenspring groups? You mentioned the Wellness Center groups. That would be a Greenspring-sponsored group. and resident-sponsored
So it
groups?
varies, depends who signed up. So, for
okay.
example, the Philanthropy Committee will have a table.
Okay.
Because we're always looking for sharing information, but also if people have questions, if someone says, I might be interested in joining the committee in the future. So it again is an opportunity where folks may not always think of the Philanthropy Committee as a group, but yet it is, even though it's connected with our office.
But also, the quilting group that I belong to will be there.
Right.
So that would be a resident-sponsored group.
Pottery, woodwork,
Right.
different card groups, movie groups. So I would say that is from 11 to 2. It's a shorter window of time because if to reset and get things ready for the Jefferson dining room and the lobby and that kind of thing. So just, it's not lunch. They will have some light little snacky things and refreshments, but not a lunch.
So that will be in the conference center, but enough
But
people
also
that-
upstairs.
Upstairs, because there are so many tables.
Yes.
So don't think that it's just upstairs. Be sure that you go downstairs also.
It's almost like Hunter's Crossing is going to be taken over with Village Fair.
Okay.
So please pop over and see that.
And this is a case where you do want to go early in order to have enough time to shop around to all of the groups.
Yes. And I have to do a plug for DAR.
Okay.
Because
now, DAR is the
Daughters of the American Revolution.
Okay.
Because they always have a bake sale booth.
Oh. Okay.
So I'm going to make a plug to bring a little cash.
Okay.
So that you can buy cookies or fudge or bread, and it's always good.
Okay.
Because I always take a little bundle of goodies home, and everyone's happy at my house.
Well, so we want to go before Kimberly gets there and buys all the good stuff.
Right, right. So anyway, so just so you know that. And then I think with philanthropy, we think often right now at this time of the year of scholarship.
Yes.
Because we just had this wonderful Scholars Award ceremony with our students. And we've had a lot of questions from residents this year because this was our largest class of students that said, how do you determine these students? How come we have so many this year? You know, we went up by 10, you know, from last year, and that's quite a jump. And what happened, and how does that work? And is the criteria strong enough? And so we are going to have the Philanthropy Committee and I, we've decided to do a town hall. We're calling it a Scholars Town Hall on Friday, June the 3rd at 2 o'clock, as you see on your screen, in the Acatink room. And this is really our goal is to, we're going to go over what the current criteria is for scholarship.
Okay.
And help all of the residents understand that who have questions. And again, the criteria was not set up by myself. This was set up by residents that started, you know, when Greenspring first opened, and has just evolved a little bit over time, but has been pretty close to true of how it began.
When we just had a very much smaller number of scholars.
We did. That's
and
true.
This year we were raising a great deal. We are still trying to raise a great deal of money to support this effort.
Yes.
So now we're looking back at it and saying, do we have the right criteria?
Yes.
Really, the bottom line is, can we afford to do this?
I think it's how do we figure out the right strategy for it? And there's been mixed things, because when the scholarship first began, the premise was a student who is what we would call a BC student would probably have a very low chance at getting any type of scholarship. And oftentimes that is a student that you want to nudge to get to community college, to get their confidence up, and to then have them go on to finish at a 4-year degree. And that's the nice benefit that our scholarship does offer for those students. Whereas we have other residents who have said, well, you know, if you need a higher GPA, and the premise had been that those are the students who often can get scholarships already. How do we sort of figure out the right balance?
Right.
So we're going to sort of talk through what our criteria is, what the grade point average of our scholars were. In this current class, we had almost a dozen that had over a 4.0.
I asked you once before, the history of our past scholars. How many of those scholars do you, well, I know you know the answer to this, how many of the scholars that we have paid 4 years of scholarship money to actually complete that 4-year degree.
Yeah, 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
Yeah.
That is, to me, that is immense. When you look at the general population of students who start college, I don't know what the percentage is, but I'm very sure it's not 90%.
Yeah, I think part of the reason that so many complete it is because of the commitment from our residents of this program. That the residents feel like this is also a gift from the residents. You know, they really do take this scholarship very seriously. Yes, they're very appreciative, but they also know that this is something special. And they feel like it's their duty and responsibility to hold their end of the bargain.
So I think that's something important to bring up at this meeting.
And so I think that's really the nice thing with the Philanthropy Committee, because I'm not in those interviews on purpose, because I don't want any confusion between management and their job.
Right.
The residents are in the meetings when they do all the interviews, and they can sort of, as I say, tell it like it is.
Right.
You know, they can do the grandma, we count on you, you need to do a good job, and
That's
you know,
good.
you need to hold your end up. So
Kimberly, we're out of time, but I want you to tell me when this meeting is going to be. I know we put up some signage.
Yep, Friday, June 30th.
Friday, June 30th.
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock in the Academic
And it's
room.
strictly brainstorming and information sharing and ideas. No
Good.
final decisions, but we want to at least get some feedback so it can go back to the committee and they can help use that to figure out changes or keeping things the same.
Good idea. Thank you for
So,
sharing so much with
thank
us today, and
you.
thank you for your enthusiasm.
Thank you. Always good to be here.
Okay.